Today I will be going through finally my top books from 2019. I have a little pile here, starting with books from the bottom all the way to the top 5 or something like that. So without further ado, let's get on. The books from 2019. 2019 is quite a good year for me reading. I don't actually know how many I read. How bad's that? I think I read along the lines of 20 something books. I think it was 23. We'll go for 23. So that was quite good for me. As of past years, I've not really read that much, and since getting a dog, it's blown my mind that I've been able to read that much. I go to Paul as well, so that's fabulous. Let's crack on. So the all the way down at the bottom, number 10. It's not that it's rubbish or it wasn't a very good read. It's just I have ordered the books to my favourite ones of last year. The Christmas Wish List by Heidi Swan. I think it's Swan. So I don't actually have this in book format. I have it on my Kobo. It is not this book currently because I have not updated it since Christmas. Oh, dear me, it's raining quite badly outside. I read that last year at Christmas. It was lovely. It was a very lovely Christmassy read, all full of warmth and love and romance and everything and friendship, and it was wonderful and I really enjoyed it. This is the second or third Heidi Swan book that I've read, and I can't tell you how much I enjoyed it. It's just, if it's a summer book or a winter book or whatever, it just makes me feel, she's just got the perfect settings and the perfect characters, and it's just wonderful. I have put an acronym on this paper, and I honest to God can't remember what it means. I know it's gonna slap me in the face when I remember. Oh, I read 22 books last year. That's how many I read, according to Goodreads. The Art of Taxidermy by Sharon Kernock. This was a book that I got given to me from NetGalley for an early review. It centres around a young girl who's recently lost her mother, and it is written in verse, which is something that I don't usually read or tend to read, and I don't even know if I have read apart from since when I was in school. It was the whole Simon Armitage and all them that I had to do. So I've not read anything in verse for a long time, and I surprisingly really did enjoy it. As I say, it's about a young girl called Lottie who loses her mum, and the whole book is based on her different stages of grieving and how she goes through it. So what happens is that she gets like a fascination with taxidermy and the whole process of it. So she starts to collect animals and stuff, and in some ways it is a little bit morbid, but once you read through it more, it's actually showing her how she's coping, and it's her coping mechanism for dealing with the loss of her mother. And it's a really sad but beautiful book, and it's really nice. The whole character in it, I loved Lottie so much. The whole idea based behind it, it's really lovely, and if you ever get a chance to read it, I would highly recommend reading it. Bear with me. Next book on the list is Full Disclosure by Cameron Garrett. This focuses on a young girl who's in secondary school or high school over in America. She is tested with HIV positive. Not that she contracted it from anyone, it's just that she was born with it. It was in her system, and it's how she, again, it's another coping book, and it's how she copes through going through school, telling her friends, hospital appointments, her parents, and she eventually gets a relationship, and it's how she tells the other person her relationship and how she feels telling the whole world. She starts doing, she joins in the school play, I believe, or she's in it and she directs it and stuff, and that's what she really wants to do. And then something happens on the surface, and a note gets passed around the school. It's a really good read. I read it whilst I was away last year on a little holiday with my mum and auntie. and I stayed up all night reading it, and I absolutely adored it, and it was brilliant. And I did say, which I haven't done yet, but I did say that when it comes out in hardback, that I would buy it, hardback, paperback, whichever. But I did say that I would buy it, which I still need to do because I feel like it's one of those books that I need to own because it was just such a wonderful read. Oh, it was also another book that was passed to me from NetGalley for a review, so big thanks for that, I really enjoyed it. The next one after that was Montauk by Nicola Harrison. As you know, I absolutely adore books that are based around the 1920s up to the 1950s, so just that era in general. So this was one of those books. It centres around a young woman who's recently got married to a husband. Then they go out to a holiday villa with all these other couples, and she feels that she isn't in a relationship with her husband anymore. He's always away at work. He comes home, or he goes to the villa where she is most of the time when they're on holiday. They've gone on holiday, he's never there, and it's how she copes with it and everything, and it's just about her life. And she eventually encounters another love interest, and stuff happens and everything, and it was such a wonderful read, and I really did enjoy it. And at the end, I'm not gonna lie, I did actually cry at the end of the book. And then a few days later, as I was getting over the traumatized moments of the book, I was then still like, if I thought about it, I'd well up a bit. So it was a really good read, and I really enjoyed it. Next, we're actually on to the books now that are in paperback, so I can finally show you books. So another book from the top 10 of 2019 was Shadow Kiss by Michelle Mead. This book absolutely tore my heart into pieces. I'm not gonna lie, I felt like someone had ripped my fucking heart out and just thrown it in the trash, because oh my god, it was such a roller coaster of emotions, and stuff finally happened in the book that I was waiting for a long time. It happened, and then, you know, when you read a book and you've been waiting so long for a couple to get together, they finally get together, and then lo and behold, something happens, you're ripped apart, and oh, it's just, guys, it broke my heart to the point where I was in the bath reading it, and I got out the bath, and Mr. B was like, "Oh, what's the matter?" Floods of tears rolling down my face, and I was like, my heart's broken to this day. To the fact that I read it. I can't think when I read it. I did read it last year. I think I read it. I finished reading it in February, I think. So I started in January, and I think I finished towards the end of January, February, or something like that. And I read it as quick as I possibly could, and then I didn't pick up the next book in the series. This is book number 3. I didn't pick up book number 4 until the beginning of this year, because every time I looked at the book, I nearly started crying, and I didn't want to carry on reading it because it broke my heart. I did eventually read book 4, and I absolutely loved it. And I think that's just even more sad, but not in a way, because this will always be the saddest one so far. And I think it was also because I was reading it, and there's only 6 in the series, and I was on book 3, and I didn't want to kind of plough all the way through the series, because I honestly don't know what I'm going to do with my life after I finish this series. I'm going to be quite a mess, and I'm going to be quite lost. So I really did enjoy it, and I really loved it, and I am absolutely in love with Michelle Mead's writing, and I will continue to read her books and read other books that she's done, and I really can't wait to read them. She has done some more called the Bloodlines series, so I don't know if you can see, but this is all of the Vampire Academy series, and then this is the Bloodlines series, which is based on some of the characters in Vampire Academy, but it's also based on, so it's based on some that come into the book, into the 4th book, and then it's more centered around them. Like, this is like vampire kind of thing, and then the other people that come into it are like alchemists and stuff, so it's based around the alchemists and stuff, I think. But I can't wait to read it, and I think she's also brought another book out, I believe, which is completely different. Oh, I'm so excited. But it really broke my heart. Really broke my heart. Next one after that, I don't actually have it because, again, that was from NetGalley. That was an ARC that I received, and that was The Perfect Wife by JP Delaney. Now, if you know me, you know how much I love JP Delaney's work so far, from The Girl Before that he did, and then after that, it was Believe Me, and then after that, it was The Perfect Wife. And I honestly didn't think that I would get the ARC, and when I did, oh, I nearly had like a silent cry to myself. Oh, I was so excited, but I absolutely loved it. It was really strange. I still think out of all of them, The Girl Before is the best book that I've read, but I obviously read that in 2018. I think Girl Before was the best one so far, and then it's Believe, and then I'm telling a lie. Then it was The Perfect Wife, and then Believe Me, I think. Anyway, it was a really good book. It was based around this bloke that had lost his wife, and he was trying to get her back using AI, like artificial intelligence, which is just something that creeps me out completely. And he managed to do it through so many tests and scientific experiments and stuff. Not like creepy experiments, but just science and everything. And he brings her back, and he's like managed to develop her own artificial intelligence, like brain, but from like all her uploads on social media. So it's like all of her Facebook, Instagram, Twitter posts, and everything, and emails and everything through the past so many years. So it builds up her memory on that. It's really good. There's a really big twist at the end of it, which I did not see coming. If you ever do get a chance to read any of JP Delaney's work, I would highly, highly recommend it, because I absolutely adore it, and I'm still sat patiently waiting for him to say that he will be releasing another book, which so far has not happened. I've been searching all the time, but nothing so far. Now we're on to books that I actually do own, and I actually have, well, I did own the others, but like in actual paperback format. The next book is, I finally got round to reading A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas, which I honestly did not think that I would enjoy it as much as I did. I think the beginning of the book was quite slow, and Feyre at the beginning did quite annoy me slightly. But then towards when it got through to the challenges and stuff, I know that I'm quite late at reading this. At the moment, I'm currently reading this one. I do get the hype. I honestly get the hype now of this series, I really do. I read it at the time. I think I did a video blog a bit back, but at the time I read it with the lovely Jess from Make Me Shakespeare. I'll link her down below. We did it as a buddy read. It took us quite a while because she was at uni and I was at work and everything, and all of the things in between. What we did was we read 5 pages, not 5 pages, Christ, that'd take us forever. We read 5 chapters each, and then we'd have a Skype video call and get snacks and have a good old chat about it. I have taken out all of the notes that I had now, but there was absolutely loads, and in some ways I wish I kept the notes on my favourite bits so I could go back and find them, but hey ho, I can't. I absolutely loved it, to the point where I think I only bought this one and then I rushed out and bought the rest of the series because I couldn't wait to read them. I really, really enjoyed this. This is number 4. Ooh, The Perfect Wife was number 5. This is number 4, so we're getting into the top 5 now. But I really did enjoy it. I don't feel like I need to talk about it as much because I feel like it's a massive cult book and everyone will know what happens in it anyway, and there's probably a lot of people that have already read it before me. But it's apparently, which you can see, it's a retelling, or a modern retelling of Beauty and the Beast, which it's loosely based around that. There's characters that I loved and characters that I didn't really like. As Jess knows, that I absolutely fell in love with a character called Lucian. Slightly shifted with that book so far. I've not finished it yet. I've got quite a little bit more to go, and I will be getting more of Sarah J Maas's book to read in the future. I believe she's brought a new one out, I think called, I don't know what it's called, it's something City, I'm sure it is. I watched Gavin read it recently, and he did like a video vlog, which I'll also link down below, which is absolutely hilarious if you watch it. I've just thought about it anyway, it's extremely funny. So yeah, I'll link it down below. But I really, really enjoyed this book, and I can't wait to finish the other book that I'm reading at the moment in the series and the rest of them. Number 3, the top 5. So number 3 out of 10 of the best books that I read last year is Circe by Madeline Miller. If you know me, then you will know that I absolutely love anything to do with Greek mythology. Anything. I absolutely loved this book. I believe Jess at Make Me Shakespeare read it not long around the same time as I did, and I know that she liked it too. But I absolutely loved it. It's one of the best books that I read last year, and I can't wait to read more stuff that this wonderful author writes. It's centered around the Greek goddess Circe, who gets sent to exile by her family, and then she starts like her own little land, her own island, and then my voice has gone weird. And it's just how she lives, basically. It's about how she lives and fights, and she's such a heroine, such an amazing heroine in this book. And towards the end of the book, it is quite sad towards the end, and you do feel sorry for her, but also in the same way you think, good on you, lass. You know, you've done it. You've done what you wanted to do, and you've achieved what you wanted to do, and you will not bow down to anyone. So it was a really good book, and I really enjoyed it, and I'd highly recommend reading it. If you've not read it already, and if you love anything to do with Greek mythology, then it is the book for you. Number 2 out of top 5 is, I'm so sorry if I get this name wrong, it is I, Cosmo by Carly Sorosiak, I believe. Loved it. I absolutely loved it. It is a children's book. It was part of the books that I had for BELIEVEATHON, which I believe Gav is doing a BELIEVEATHON 2 this year. I'm so excited. But this was part of the books that I chose for BELIEVEATHON last year, and at the time it was around the same time that we got Merlin when he was a pup, and it's really nice to read it and then spend time with Merlin, because it's like an inside look of a dog's life. Like, if they spend a lot of time like sniffing outside or playing, and it's basically about a dog that sees his family falling to pieces and they're falling apart, like the parents start to not love each other anymore, and the boy that he is close to the most, he's really scared of being separated from them, so they do this massive thing on trying to get into this talent show and everything, to win the hearts back of their parents, and in the end it's inevitable in the end of what happens with the parents and stuff. But it is such a lovely book, and it's more of a man's best friend kind of book, and how the dog tries to do everything he possibly can when us humans just see it as that he's barking or he's making noise or whatever. It's a really lovely book, and it made me see Merlin as he was growing up in a different light. I mean, Merlin is still a bit of a pain in the arse, he's a bit of a knob, but it makes me see things a bit clearer and a bit differently to what Merlin might see. So it was a really lovely book, and I really enjoyed it. Last but not least, in the top 10 books of 2019, this is the best book that I read all year, and it is one of the best books that I have read in my entire time reading, which isn't a long time, because you know I'm only 25. This is actually not an old book, but it came out in 2018. I picked it up last year completely on a whim, because of the blurb on the back, and I absolutely fell in love with it, and I've fallen in love with the author as well, because her writing style is completely different compared to anything that I have ever read before. It's weird, it's kooky, it's just perfect. She's bringing out a new book this year, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. So the best book that I read from all of 2019 is Everything Under by Daisy Johnson. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook or any social media, you will know how much I absolutely adore this book and how much I have spoken about it over the past year. Oh, there we go. And I absolutely adored it. It's such a strange read. If you've never read it, it's really strange, but it's worth the read. It really is. It centres around a woman who doesn't have that great of a relationship with her own mum. Her mum is quite ill at the moment, and she goes back to look after her regardless of what's happened. She does struggle to look after her, and some things that the woman now faces as she's older, like her anxieties and stuff like that, is because of how she was brought up with her mum, because her mum was really eccentric and kooky and strange and told her all these made up stories and stuff, and the woman as a girl believed, and she started to believe it as she got older as well. At some point another child comes to stay with them for a while, and she never stops thinking about that other child at all. She can't stop thinking, she can't understand what happened to them and what happened to the bloke that used to come round, and it's such a wonderful read. And then everything at the end, it's like a massive, I'll be honest, it's like a mindfuck completely. It just completely blew my mind, and it was such a wonderful read, and the big twist at the end, it's such a big twist, it just completely got me. It's a book that I would definitely reread and reread and reread, and I feel like if I reread it again, I would find stuff that I didn't find before, and I absolutely adored it. So if you've never read anything by Daisy Johnson, I highly recommend that you read this. She has also done another book called Fen, and she's bringing another book out. Sisters comes out in August, I believe. And I really can't wait to get it. It's out of all the books for a while that I've been wanting to get, that is the book that I am so excited for it to be released. Like, as soon as she put it on Instagram saying that, oh, I've got a surprise, and she posted a picture, and I'll be honest, I nearly wet myself with excitement. So I will be running to Waterstones when that book comes out. But this is by far the best book that I read last year, and it's one of the best books that I have read for a long, long time. And it's just so weird, it's different, it's kooky, it's in places it's creepy, it's like a book that like crawls up into your soul, and it's weird, it's totally weird, but I absolutely adored it and loved it. So that is it. That is all my books, as well as all of the ones on my e-reader and from NetGalley. So this is all of the books that I read, well, not all of the books, but my top 10 books from 2019. I can't wait to read more again this year. That is all the books that I read last year. I read some fabulous books, but these made the top 10. I'll be doing this again at the end of the year, or probably beginning of next year, for top 10 books in 2020. It's something that I will carry on doing, as I've quite enjoyed doing it and ranking them all as what I found my favourite. Don't really like Tamlin. I love Feyre, you know, she's come on strong. She's not a little, oh, well, it's me anymore. She's getting up there. She don't take no shit from anyone. I like that. Reese is just, well, I'll leave it at that, because he's a fine specimen by the sounds of it.